morning, my dear students. In last class we discussed about class, object and different object-oriented concepts like inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction. Now let us go further. Once you are done with class and object, how to write a program, what are the different concepts which helps you to write the programs. Again we'll repeat, what is a class? Class is nothing but static one which does not occupy any memory, which has got some attributes and member functions, and object is the real entity where you are going to allocate the memory. So let us discuss today on this concept. What is function overloading? What is function overriding? What is operator overloading? And what are the differences between overloading and overriding? So let us see about is function overloading and overriding. And before going into it, let us discuss this concepts. Whatever you are discussing, overloading concepts comes under polymorphism, which is one of the key concepts which we learned in the last year. One thing appearing in multiple forms, polymorphism. One thing appearing in multiple things. Like overloading is categorized into two things called function overloading and operator overloading. So what do you mean by exact overloading? Then we go into what is function overloading and operator overloading. Overload is nothing but same function appearing in different ways. It can be, in the last class we discussed about, video we discussed about what is constructor overloading. What is constructor overloading is same constructor appearing in with different parameters. Here the same example I have taken. Here SW is the class name. Here the function names are also SW and SW, but difference in the one without parameters and one with parameters. Here as the function name and the class name both are same, it is nothing but the constructor. So it is we discuss this concept as constructor overloading, as two functions are having same name but difference in the parameter. As we already discussed in the last class, two functions having different parameters but no return types but same name as a class name, it's called constructor. So let us discuss what is function overloading. As we are already done with constructor overloading, let us discuss about function overloading. Is there any difference between the constructor overloading and function overloading? It's same as constructor overloading. Function overloading is also same. Here add and add, two functions with the same name but difference in parameter. We can have the return types also as a class, as it is a normal function. Now observe carefully what is the difference between constructor overloading and function overloading. In constructor overloading, we have the function name and the class name both are same. But in function overloading, the function name and the class name both are different but almost look similar. But here in the functions we can have the return types. So wherever the red color jotting is there, just to have a look here. So add are the two functions with the same name. It is function overloading. They are not constructors because they are not same as a class name. Class name is SW but the function name is add. So this is constructor overloading. Once we see some examples, will be much more clear with the difference between constructor overloading and function overloading. So now look at this example. Wherever the black color is there, if you observe carefully, two functions add. Both functions are having same name. Red one underline, two functions are having same name but different parameter, and if you observe carefully, they have a return type. Both the functions have a return type called void. It is not compulsory that two functions should have the same return type, but two functions should have the same name, but there should be some difference between the parameters or the return types. And coming to the SW is a constructor. SW is a constructor as it is having same name as the class name. So it is constructor. SW is the constructor. Adds are the functions. I'll repeat again. What is function overloading means? Two functions having same name in a class, but there should be a difference either in the parameters or in the return type. Here return type of first function and the second function both are same, but there is a change in the parameters. So this is example for function overloading. Already we discussed, if anything in a class to be accessed, we create a object. So here the two objects are obj1 and obj2, using which you are going to call a function called add. obj1 dot add, it is going to call the first function. obj2 dot add of 10, it is going to call the second function accordingly. So this is called polymorphism. So this is about function overloading. So add with parameters, add without parameters. Two functions having the same name but without parameters can have different data types. So now look at operator overloading. Here also function overloading and operating overloading works in the same way, but there is a difference with the operator overloading. Operators can be used for different purposes, that is called operator overloading. So let us see what are the things which you can, and it comes under compile time polymorphism. This type of operator overloading comes under compile time polymorphism. So different operators can be used for different purpose depending on the user requirement. So what are the operators which can be overloaded? That means used for different purpose. Here are the list of the operators which can be used for the different purposes. And these are the operators which cannot be used for overloading. That means scope operator cannot be overloaded. That means scope operator cannot be used for different purpose. Member selector cannot be used for different purpose. Member pointer selector cannot be used for different purpose. Ternary operator also cannot be used for different. And these are the rules for operator overloading. In this presentation, I am not focusing much on operator overloading. So now this is just a syntax how to write the operator overloading. Okay, I am skipping off. We'll see in the sections. Now look at the next category called function overriding. There is a difference between a word called as function overloading and function overriding. Function overloading means writing the same function in same functions in same class. But coming to overriding, writing the functions in two different classes. It could be parent-child class having the same function name, not in the same class. As we have seen in the previous example, in the same class SW, we have same functions, two adds in the same class. Two adds in the same class, that is function overloading. But here, we are going to see two same function but in different classes. So this comes under runtime polymorphism. Now let us discuss what we have seen in the slides. So there is a difference between overloading and overriding. Overloading means when we talk about same functions in the same class. Overriding means same functions but in parent and child class. So this is a brief idea about what is function overloading and function overriding. Function overloading comes under compile time polymorphism. Function overriding comes under runtime polymorphism. Thank you.